Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Thursday, December 8th, and this is the NBA DFS video for today. So in today's video, we'll be going over a recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about the injuries in play for tonight's slate as a 3-game main slate overall, and then going over to both DraftKings and FanDuel and talking about my core picks for today. Before I get too started, I will say that the FanDuel will not be up on the screen. I'm having a little bit of issues logging into my account from my computer, but I do have it up on my phone, and I'll go over all the details there as well. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. So we're going to start off at the point guard position. On DraftKings, we had Russell Westbrook, $6,500, looking for 33 points on him. Got to 33.25, so he was a hit yesterday. Then at shooting guard, we had Klay Thompson at $6,300. We were looking for 32 points on him. He got to 38, so he was a hit as well. At small forward, I ended up on Bojan Bogdanovic by the end of the day with the updated core, $6,600. Was looking for 33 points for him. It was a reasonable ask, but only ended up with 8.25 yesterday. He was a mess. Only ended up playing 20 minutes and 1 for 8 shooting from the field yesterday. So the Pistons kind of like pseudo-rested some of their important guys. They only played like 22 minutes on the back-to-back. Rather see them be listed as out instead of that, just so we don't attack them, but just kind of unfortunate that it played out that way. Then at power forward, we had Jonathan Kuminga at $3,400. Was looking for 17 points on him, got to 40.25, so he was a very excellent hit yesterday. And then last but not least, at center, we had Thomas Bryant at $3,100. Looking for 16 points on him, got to 32.75, so he was a good hit as well. So 4 out of 5 on the DraftKings side. The Bogdanovic play really weighed us down. If you had some other really good plays, you still had a chance of catching. Otherwise, it was a little bit more difficult yesterday since there was so much value that was out there overall. Then on the FanDuel side, we had Russell Westbrook once again, $6,900. We're looking for 35 points on. Only got to 30.8 on the FanDuel side, so he technically was a miss over there. Then at shooting guard, we had Jordan Poole at $5,900. Looking for 30 points on. Got to 46.8, so he was a hit on the FanDuel side. Then at small forward, we had Klay Thompson, $6,200, looking for 31 points on. Got to 38.9, so he was a hit once again. And then once again, we have Bojan Bogdanovic at power forward, $5,700, looking for 29 points on. Got to 6.6. He ended up being a mess. Only played those 22 minutes, 1 for 8 shooting from the field, kind of a pseudo rest day, so just kind of unfortunate that we ran into that overall. And then at center, we had Thomas Bryant at $4,300, looking for 22 points on him. Got to 36 on the FanDuel side, so he was a really good hit. So on FanDuel, if you had some other decent plays, you had a good chance of cashing. My main line on FanDuel ended up with like 344 points and still didn't end up cashing just because of that Bogdanovic miss, which is a little bit unfortunate, but just shows you how much value there was overall on yesterday's slate. But with that being said, we'll get moved over into the injuries and play for tonight's slate. Once again, it is a 3-game main slate. It's kind of that typical Thursday structure where we have one game starting at 7:30 Eastern time, then an 8:30 game, and then a 10 o'clock game. So unlike some of the Tuesdays and Thursdays that we've seen recently where the early games kind of tip off at the same time, it's a little bit more staggered today overall. Probably makes it a little bit less compelling for DFS, but it's just kind of the normal structure overall. So for the Clippers today, we have Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris, Norman Powell, and John Wall, all technically listed as questionable. This is the back-to-back, so we'll see if any news does come out throughout the day. There is a decent chance that Kawhi Leonard does not end up playing tonight. Marcus Morris should play from coming back from his injury. I believe Norman Powell is probably going to be out once again tonight, and John Wall will be back. And then Luke Kennard is just kind of questionable at this point in time. We'll see if he plays or not. For the Miami Heat, we have Gabe Vincent and Omar Yurtseven both out. Then we have Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Dedmon both listed as questionable. I do expect Jimmy Butler to play tonight. Obviously, he didn't play on Tuesday night on the back-to-back. Then we got Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, Victor Oladipo, Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, and Tyler Hero, all listed as game time decisions, but all expected to play tonight. For the Houston Rockets, we have Jayshawn Tate out once again, so no real changes there. Kevin Porter Jr. being questionable is kind of the big one here. If he doesn't end up playing, Jalen Green's going to look pretty good. And then whoever ends up in that starting lineup would also be a pretty good value play as well. Then we got Josh Christopher and Bruno Fernando, both questionable as well. Obviously, if Kevin Porter Jr. and Josh Christopher both end up missing tonight, Jalen Green's going to look pretty good. You might even be able to go to Knicks behind him as well at that point guard position, maybe as a cheap paydown option on DraftKings. And then on the Spurs side, we have Keta Bates-Diop, Jakob Poeltl, Jeremy Sohan, and Wesley all out once again tonight. Devin Vassell is listed as doubtful. And then we have Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott, Romeo Langford. All this is probable to play tonight. Obviously, if anything changes elsewise for the Spurs team, there could be even more value opening up. But probably one of the better teams to target overall on both sites. Then for the Denver Nuggets, we got Michael Porter Jr. out once again. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is probable. Colin Gillespie listed as a game-time decision. I still believe he's a little far off, so probably not going to play tonight as well. Then for the Trailblazers, we got Nazir Little, Gary Payton II, both out once again. Keon Johnson is questionable tonight. We'll see if he makes his return or not. John Butler is also questionable, but not really in the rotation. And then Josh Hart and Drew Eubanks, I both believe, are probable or expected to play tonight. So that's kind of a quick little rundown on all the injuries in play for tonight's slate. Obviously, we're going to watch out for that Clippers news, Kevin Porter Jr. news, and then if anything else changes throughout the day, I'll list it down in the comments as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So we're going to start off at the point guard position with Jalen Green. He's $6,900. We're looking for 34, 35 points on him. He's averaging 34 so far in the season. Pretty good matchup tonight against the Spurs. Should be a pretty back and forth, high-paced game between two teams that are relatively not that good overall. Currently have him projected, for about 35, 36 points tonight. Definitely has some upside for more if Kevin Porter Jr. is out once again as well. Then at shooting guard, we're going with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. This is not one of my favorite picks on tonight's slate overall, but $4,200. Looking for 21 points on him. That's essentially what he's averaging on the season. Currently, I'm projected for 20-21 tonight. Not a very good fantasy point per minute producer, but he's still playing decent minutes. He's kind of banged up and all that. Probably a pick that could change throughout the day. But as of right now, we got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at that shooting guard position. Then at small forward, we have Keldon Johnson, $7,600. Looking for 38 fantasy points on him. He's averaging about 34 so far on the season. Good matchup tonight against the Houston Rockets. Should be a back and forth, high-paced game. No Devin Vassell should also benefit him as well. So I do like Keldon Johnson quite a bit tonight. Currently have him projected for about 37, 38 fantasy points tonight. Had some upside for more as well. Then power forward, I'm going Jeremy Grant, $7,400. Looking for 37 fantasy points on him. He's averaging 36 on the season. Damian Lillard did come back the last time out, but really didn't affect Jeremy Grant too much. He's still playing large, sizable minutes. So do have some interest there once again tonight. Maybe it's a pick that changes throughout the day, but still currently have him projected for 36, 37 points tonight. Then last but not least, at that center position, we're going with Charles Bassey at $3,600. Recently recalled from the G League, played in a couple games since then. Getting about 20 minutes a game, looking for 18 fantasy points on him, kind of that cheap pay down option tonight. Currently I'm projected for about 20 points, has a little bit of upside for more as well. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, you have $20,300 remaining, just over $6,700 per player remaining. So if you want to pay up for a player, that's definitely something you could still do and then kind of mix and match from there. Or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach, that's definitely fine on tonight's slate as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there. As I mentioned already, I'm having a little bit of issues signing into FanDuel on my laptop. So I do have it up on my phone, so I do apologize for that. But at the point guard position, we have Jalen Green once again. He's only $6,700 on FanDuel. If Kevin Porter Jr. doesn't play tonight, he's going to look even better. Looking for 33, 34 points on. He's averaging 32 fantasy points per game on the FanDuel side tonight. A back and forth, high-paced matchup tonight versus San Antonio Spurs. Definitely one that he could take advantage of. He's actually played pretty well as of late as well. Currently, I'm projected for about 35 points on the FanDuel side tonight. Then at shooting guard, we're going to go with Bruce Brown. He's $5,600. Looking for 28 fantasy points on him. He's averaging about 26.5 on the season. Have to keep in mind that he was not starting and playing monster minutes at the beginning of the year too. That's recently gone up with Michael Porter Jr. being out. A guy that's going to play 30-plus minutes. Give you right about that 28 fantasy points that you're looking for out of him. Currently have him projected for 28 tonight. Maybe gives you just a teeny bit of upside for more as well. Then at small forward, we're going to Keldon Johnson once again. He's $7,500 on the FanDuel side. Looking for 37, 38 points on him. He's averaging about 32 on FanDuel. Goes against the Houston Rockets tonight. It's a high-paced matchup. Should be pretty back and forth. No Devin Vassell. Should definitely benefit him as well. Currently have him projected for about 37, 38 fantasy points tonight on FanDuel as well. Then at power forward, going with Marcus Morris. He had that illness, didn't end up playing yesterday. Do assume that he's back and good enough to go tonight. If he plays 30 minutes at $4,900, you're only looking for 24, 25 points on him. That's exactly what I am projected for tonight. So a pretty safe play overall on a slate that doesn't have a ton of value overall. Then last but not least at the center position, we're going with Joseph Nurkic. He's $7,200. Looking for 36 fantasy points on him. He's averaging about 33 on the season. Also have to keep in mind he's banged up for some of those games, didn't play sizable minutes. But I do like him tonight. Matchup against Nikola Jokic, as long as he doesn't get in foul trouble, he's going to look like a pretty good value play overall. Currently, I'm projected for 36, 37 fantasy points tonight. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 guys that I just did list there, you have $28,100 remaining, just over $7,000 per player. So there is a little bit of room if you want to mix and match some higher price guys and some lower price guys, or if you want to take a little bit more balanced build overall. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, December 8th. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to note whether those questions are more DraftKings or FanDuel specific so I can best help you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on tonight's slate. Maybe it's one that I mentioned in my core 5 picks on either site, or maybe it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you had to say. And then as always, I'll be listing the injury updates throughout the day, as well as many starting lineups as I can get to tonight. And then as always, I'll be listing the updated core about 20 to 30 minutes prior to lock or as the updates do become available. But with that being said, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at CoachCraigSports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we got NBA and NFL DFS. And then with that being said, if you're a newer current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily NBA DFS Core Picks just like this, as well as my NFL DFS Core Pick video, which should be returning tomorrow, as well as my NFL DFS cheat sheets over at WeBetATS.com for both DraftKings and FanDuel. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.